क्या रही है?
हाँ जी, आ रही।
चलिए जी, बातचीत शुरू करते हैं। यार मैं प्रेजेंटेशन वगैरह बनाता नहीं हूँ, ना मेरे को लगता है कि वार्य है। तो कैसे करना है सेशन और कैसे क्या करना है बताइए।
सर, हमने कुछ सवाल प्रिपेयर करे हैं, कुछ आपसे जवाब
जी
लेंगे
बिल्कुल
और फिर
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हेलो एवरीवन, एंड आई होप सब लोग सही सलामत हैं, खैरियत है, एंड सबके घर पे भी काफी बुरा वक्त चल रहा है। मेरा खुद का एक कान खराब हो रखा है, तो मैं इसी एक ही कान से सुन पा रहा हूँ। सो चलिए जी, शुरू करते हैं इसको यहीं से।
हाँ जी।
हु इज द मॉडरेटर आउट ऑफ यू गाइस? क्योंकि मुझे सब अच्छा, हाथ खड़ा करो यार जो मॉडरेटर है पहले।
ये सर,
अच्छा, एक ही है।
अभी तो एक ही है,
चलिए
बाकी टीम मेंबर्स है और कुछ ऑडियंस है।
जी 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 बिल्कुल।
जी सर, तो पहले आपका एक ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन दे देता हूँ जिन लोगों को नहीं पता। सर, हिंदी में ही करते हैं ना सेशन, तो मैंने इंग्लिश में
यार
इंट्रोडक्शन।
मसला मतलब देखो, अंग्रेजी भी बोल लेते हैं हम, एंड
हाँ हाँ।
हिंदी भी माशाल्लाह उतनी खूबसूरत जुबान है, और उर्दू में भी कर सकते हैं हम चाहो तो।
अरे
बट जिस जुबान में चाहो उसमें कर लेंगे यार।
सर, हिंदी में ही करते हैं, बस मैं इंग्लिश में
ठीक,
इंट्रोडक्शन बोल देता हूँ।
तो फिर इंट्रोडक्शन हिंदी में बोलो यार।
अच्छा। ट्रांसलेशन करता सर, एक्यूरेट नहीं होगा बट।
अरे नहीं नहीं, बोलो बोलो यार, जोक से पार्ट।
Okay. Today we have a very experienced speaker with us who specializes in landscape and portrait photography. He has been on an assignment with Incredible India, Ministry of Tourism. He has also been a freelance photographer for the National Basketball Association, Fab India Overseas Private Limited, and WWF India. He has also photographed a lot of tribes in India. He has also been a TEDx speaker. Please welcome Mr. Ashish Sulkh. तो सर, सबसे पहला सवाल मेरी तरफ से। फर्स्ट थिंग फर्स्ट सर, आपने अपनी जर्नी कैसे शुरू करी सर? सर, आप म्यूट है एक बार।
अच्छा सॉरी, मुझे लग रहा था कि यू आर ओवर टॉकिंग, फिर मुझे
और
रियलाइज। अरे नहीं नहीं, तो मेरा सवाल ये है कि भाई इंट्रोडक्शन लिया कहाँ से था?
ये सर, ऐसे ही कुछ जमा वमा कर लिया था बच्चों ने।
अरे, क्योंकि मेरे को भी नहीं याद ये सब चीजें कहाँ लिखी गई है, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, क्योंकि ये काफी पुरानी चीजें हैं,
सर
अरे
बहुत
मेनली
पुरानी है।
वही मेनली आपके इंस्टाग्राम और जैसे लिंक्डइन एंड यहीं से
हाँ
अपोलो
यार,
वगैरह।
मेरा लिंक्डइन भी कोई चला रहा है, मुझे पता नहीं है कौन चला रहा है, किसी ने मेरे
ओह
नाम से लिंक्डइन चला रखा है, मुझे नहीं पता।
सर, somebody saying they don't understand Hindi. Can we use English?
Okay, there are people who can't understand Hindi. Okay,
Yeah.
so I have a LinkedIn profile which officially I'm not operating, but there are people who are operating which I'm not aware of. And yeah, there is like got a call from Hindustan Times, and they nominated for the 30 celebrities under 30,
Yeah.
and they said, okay, we have your date of birth, this and this. मैंने कहा यार, I don't have anybody in my known circle who resembles to this date of birth. So that was my concern. My concern was not कि मेरी सही नहीं थी. मैंने कहा like I don't know anybody in my circle who had a similar number flashing with the date of birth. So, but these things keep happening. So I lost the award. I wish that date of birth was true, but I'm over 30 now. Okay, so let's start with the question. This was a thoda sa icebreaker.
Yeah. All right, sir. So, how did you start photography, sir? It's like the number one question.
Yeah, I was always a photographer. Yeah, since I was a kid, was like on the birthday parties, I was the default photographer, and they used to tell me, okay, your job is to make sure you don't chop the legs and don't cut the heads. That was my job, and like they let me play with the luxury of eliminating the non-invited guests, so I did not photograph them. I used to crop them out of the frame. That's how I learned my framing in my family. But yeah, I mean, like I always grew up with the cameras and used to shoot. And but yeah, obviously, so then I met few people. They told me the good professionals like Zoe Vincenti. She played as a mentor in my life. Zoe is editor for National Geography Milan. So she told me you got an eye. Like Ravi Kanochia, again senior photojournalist. He told me you got an eye. Then I thought, okay, we can do something about it. I had a bit formal education about photography. Then I had a project with the National Geography and WWF India, the World Wildlife. And then I was working on camera traps, which is very different than what we call photography today. So that's how I started.
Right, sir. So I mean, how did you manage to like, सर आपने ये फोटोग्राफी का करियर पिकअप कैसे करा? क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग आजकल इनिशियल डेट में स्ट्रगल करते रह जाते हैं बिकॉज एवरीबडी हैज अ कैमरा नाउ एंड एवरीबडी इज अ फोटोग्राफर. हाउ डिड यू पिक अप एंड हाउ पीपल कैन पिक अप देयर करियर्स?
Yeah, what's your name? Akash. What is the name? Sorry,
Sir, Akshat.
Akshat. Akshat.
Yes.
So Akshat, the point is, it's a very good question. You have to understand the keys. Like, what do you pursue? First of all, let me ask you a question.
Sir,
What are you pursuing?
majority of us are engineers right now, and I'm doing electronics and communication.
Okay, EC wale ho tum, right? So I'll tell you, I'm mechanical, by the way. So I'll tell you about engineers, and you take 4 years, and then you know shit. You don't know anything. Trust me. I mean, I know people who, like, I have friends in the ITs and all, then they know as good as I know, and that's nothing. Okay, so you take 4 years, and then you go to a company, you practice, you work there, and then you intern, and then you've been, every day you've been embarrassed with the system, and then eventually, just to have some self-respect in order to get a girlfriend out of the office, you end up learning few things. So that's how the photographer's life starts. So you get to learn few things, that is academic part, but you have to give enough amount of time. And then again, there's one more thing, like we have engineers, your placement, college placement decides a lot of things. So if your first company is Google, maybe like someone like 1, 2, 3 placements from your college is from Google, and that guy who got the first placement in Google, obviously he will not come down from there, he'll go up from there, right? So that is how it is. You have to pick the right opportunities, you have to let go the wrong ones, and you cannot just have everything, right? That's not how it works. So that works with art also. You cannot have everything in your hand, and you let go few things and make the right decisions, and then you grow with time. And then meeting the right people at the right time is the key. Like as the Mission Impossible, like the Tom Cruise, he says, like, when he's doomed, he say, I made friends. So that's why you need to be good at making friends, and those friends will take you forward. And you're always the mean of people around you as far the art is concerned. You're as good of an artist as your circle is.
Definitely, sir. So does anybody have any questions before we move forward?
Yes, sir. Sir, I want to know how important is the perspective as in photography?
Can you explain a bit what do you mean by perspective?
Sure. Like I'll tell you what I do when I am deciding to, like, when I go to a place and I am like, okay, I'm gonna photograph this monument, koi place I'm gonna photograph. So what I do is I just open my Insta and I search for the place and I look to the photographs जो पहले लोगों ने खींची हुई हैं, कि अच्छा लोगों यहाँ पे जाके लोगों ने इस उससे देखा था या इस एंगल से फोटो ट्राई करी, तो उससे मेरे को क्या होता है कि लाइक आई गेट टू नो कि हाँ ये वाला अगर एंगल मैं ले रहा हूँ तो ये पहले देखा हुआ है एंड ये ऐसे हुआ हुआ है, तो should I do that or not? Like,
okay, when you said perspective, that's why I wanted to know what exactly you mean by it, because I have a definition of perspective, and everyone nowadays, definitions as varying. So what people think and how they interpret out of a certain word. Like nowadays, when we say wave, the wave, when we talk as an engineer, wave have 1,000 meanings. But yeah, in today's world, when we say wave, we know everyone will assume we're talking about the COVID wave. So the word and the meanings, they change with the time and how they evolve. So as you talk about, if you're visiting a monument, maybe you're visiting Red Fort, and you have seen 10 images of Red Fort. The issue is not seeing the images. There are two ways to see an image. One is to get it's good to be aware of the surroundings. So if you want to see the image of the Red Fort as a researcher, as an artist, you can be a researcher. You need to be aware of the surroundings. You need to know what exactly is there. So the Red Fort, I need to be sure about, okay, how the gate looks, how the shadows work on the gates, what are the textures, what is the color, and what are the ways how can compose. So that is the information you're gathering. That is a one way. That is amazing, because you take the information and let it be. You just observe the information. That is how it is. Second way, what a lot of people do, they look at an image that get overwhelmed with that frame, For example, I have taken a frame and you saw my frame. So you have taken the frame in your mind. And as we say, photography memories have a lot of impact. So when that impact is there in your head, so when you go to that place, so your that photography memory and that overwhelming image you saw, that will drive you to that frame. That drive will take you away from your creativity and put you in my shoes. But obviously, you are not me, so you don't know exactly what I did. You don't know what exactly what lights I was working with, what settings I was working with, right? So at the most, if everything falls exactly the way you desired it to be, then obviously you will get exactly the same picture what I clicked. But that though you already seen. So your visual pleasure, what do you say, the utility, will not be as great as it should have been. You know the difference. So if you get exactly the same frame, still you have already copied. That's it. And if you fall anything short than that, which is a good chance likely to be, then you will be like, okay, you'll be dissatisfied. So that depression will increase. And what you did while blocking yourself in that situation, you couldn't express yourself. You had your voice, which you couldn't express. So that is another problem in this situation. So I advise you to be aware of the situation is one thing, and exactly copying something is another.
Yes, because मैंने देखा like ऐसे करते हुए there are like in back of my mind ऐसा होता है कि I am driving towards that one photo
No,
that I liked a lot.
there's likely to be happening, right? That's fine. It happens. There's no wonder in that, but you have to detach yourself from that frame. Because if you can't detach yourself, then there'll be issue with you. Because then if you went there, for example, you had 1 hour of shooting, 20 minutes you wasted in trying to copying my frame. Now you are standing at a triangle and a two-way and a diversion where you are already disturbed. You know, okay, this way I have tried, I have already failed, but this was my safe. So this was my cocoon. So a cocoon was where you had to copy this great frame, but that cocoon has been disturbed now. Now you have nothing to fall. You don't have a cushion. So when you don't have anything to fall, that is a very weird moment to be in. So it's better to don't disturb that cocoon. So never even try that frame. तो उस cocoon को बने रहने दो and just try and do whatever you want to do. And then what you can do, you can always have the back of the head कि ठीक है, मैं अपना खींचता हूँ, नहीं तो वो frame तो है ही. So that is the thing. So there's the way you look at things. So then you create something of your own, which is good. And never compare your frame with that frame. You try and create and try observing things and just go experiment new things. So that is good.
Sir, आपके व्यू में is photography is a science or an art? Like, is it a methodology that I can follow, or I have to be creative to be a good photographer?
Okay, when we say photography, photo means light, graphy means writing, script. So I'll quote it this way: writing with light is photography. So when light is involved, obviously there's technical. This is science. Controlling amount of light is science. Okay, like ink, putting ink in your pen, that is science. Of making sure the ink, how thick is the ink, what is the color of the ink, what is the intensity of the ink, that is science, purely science. But how to write with that ink, and not how to. Again, how to write is again a science and art which you have learned. But what to write, that is the thing. So that is always a craft, and that is mainly what you can say it's your inner thing.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yeah.
So just as you mentioned right now that you have been photographing in your party events.
You're not audible. You're not audible. Try to be clear.
Just, am I audible right now?
Yeah, better.
Okay. I'm saying that just as you said that you have been photographing in your party events and so on. So was there a specific event that triggered your becoming a professional?
No, I didn't get your point. I've been photographing events. I don't.
No. I'm saying that you just said that you started clicking, like you were the one who used to click pictures any
Oh yeah, yeah.
family
No, no,
event.
that
Yeah,
was
no,
no, no,
I'm
no, no,
saying
no.
that event.
Okay,
That event, I'm saying
that was a
that event.
sarcasm. Okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
was
I'm saying, was
no,
there
no, no.
any
Okay.
specific event or spark that triggered you something that
No
yeah,
यार ऐसा नहीं होता है पता
somewhere.
है देखो दो चीज होती है दो चीज एक तो होता है you always I can be a good storyteller I can tell you a story which is good to sell but the reality generally differs okay
Hmm.
so the reality is it's like a ladder it's always like a ladder any art form and like being an engineer well like tomorrow if you like most of you I'm sure you'll do good in your life and so if someone comes to you and interview you okay what triggered you when did you decide to be an engineer and all that all right you can always come with an answer but the reality is you never decided it just happened so
Flow
so
of life. You
it's
mean
like a
to say
ladder.
flow of
It's
life?
like I say it's like a ladder, and there are steps. Like there are 15 steps. So like today you're at first step. Tomorrow you'll be at second. Then you'll be third. There'll be fourth. Like in chemistry, we always said that we always have a rate determining step, which is the
Hmm.
slowest step in the reaction. So I'll quote it that way. So yeah, my slowest step in the reaction was the my determining because the slowest step is the step which tests you the most. So that is the time when you feel like quitting a lot. So if you can hold on to that moment, which is very slow in you, any art form or any creativity, if you can survive through that, that itself is a moment.
Okay.
सर एक क्वेश्चन था कि आप कौन से जॉनरा में पसंद करते हो फोटो खींचना मतलब फोटोग्राफी
Yeah, I like to take a lot of documentary shots. I like to document people and space in time. That is how I like to do it. Then I do like a lot of wildlife that is attached to me. But again, I'm very much fascinated with the lights more than where it's reflecting from. When we talk about the photography, it's you are only capturing the light which is being reflected from somewhere. That somewhere can be a wedding, it can be a lion who's roaring, it can be a street image, it can be anything. So I love to capture the light, and that is it. So when I see the drama in the light, that excites me. So that drama can be anywhere. It can be in a wedding, it can be in jungle, it can be maybe my mother, she's having a cup of tea with a couple of biscuits or something. So it can happen anywhere. But it's a drama I look for.
I can relate to you.
And I like saturation, I like colors, and that's how it is. So
Thank you.
Sir, have you ever shot film, uh, analog photography?
no, sorry, repeat that.
Sir, have you ever shot film, like film cameras, on film cameras?
I shoot a lot with the film cameras. I shot with a lot of Polaroids. I shot with medium formats. I shot with Mamiya. I've shot. I still use a lot of, the Polaroid cameras. I do. I still do it. It's good. It's fun.
Sir, how do you like compare it with a digital process?
See, you know what? Technology and the quality, obviously, this is way better. But we end to like the things which is a demand and supply. So things which are vintage and all, we end to, we tend to like and we tend to incline towards those things. So that is with the film. So we find it more of artistic, more of because when you don't have much to experiment and you can only play with your craft, that automatically incline towards art. So you have a lot of artistic view on those things, and you can play with a lot of art with that. So that is with the film cameras. So that's more of artistic, I feel. And one more thing. So when you're spending on each frame, so in the film, if I'm printing a roll, if I'm shooting 35 images, so and then I'm spending X amount on that. So that's X amount is my investment.
Yeah.
So you understand. So when you pay and get something, that's always valued. And if it's not valued, you find a way to value it. So that's why people always say my film shots are very special to me. No, you can make your camera shots also equally special. You limit yourself. You go, okay, I'll go to Paris and I'll only come back with 70 images. And I will not click more than 70 no matter what. Trust me, they'll be as good as your film. So, it's the demand and supply wala situation. So when you put a bracket on something, it becomes exclusive. And exclusivity sells. And that's kind of limited edition, right?
Yeah. Sir, on that, have you ever developed a film like on your own, like on paper? Have you printed and developed your own film?
I love to print. I'm not a person who edits,
Hmm.
and I'm not a person who manipulates. So I have my editors who works for me. So I know obviously I've done these things, but I'm not that great. It's as simple as that. Yeah, uh, I play cricket and I'm a batsman. I
Hmm.
can be a good batsman, right? But I bowl also, but that doesn't mean I'm a good bowler. And if I don't bowl regularly, I can never match up to a person who's practicing regularly,
Yeah.
no matter how talented I am. But obviously, someone who's practicing regularly,
Hmm.
then obviously, I made a wise decision that I will invest. If I had 3 hours to invest, I'll give 3 hours to playing, practicing batting in the nets instead of giving 1.5 being batting and 1.5 as a bowler, and then end up being not enough of a batsman and not enough of a bowler too at the same time. So I choose to be good at one thing and then
Yeah.
let my editors do their job. And the people they're supposed to be paid. इंडिया में हालत ये है ना कि हम हर चीज खुद करना चाहते हैं. हमारे यहाँ पे सारे इंजीनियर बल्ब बदल रहे होते हैं घर पे. हर बंदा आर्किटेक्ट होता है. सबके पापा आर्किटेक्ट होते हैं. प्लम्बर तो वो सबके पापा होते ही हैं. एंड मम्मी शेफ होती हैं. एंड और जो प्रोफेशनल्स को भी हम गाइड देते हैं. हमारे घर पे एसी वाला भी फिट करने आता है तो हम उसको एडवाइस करते हैं कि भाई ये पाइप यहाँ से जाएगा. तो हम उस जब तक वो हमारी मुंह पे बेइज्जती ना कर दे टिल द टाइम वी शव इट ऑन आवर फेस वी डोंट वी चैलेंज देम. ये नहीं ये तो ऐसे ही होगा ऐसे होगा. वो और वो बंदा भी बेइज्जती करता रहता है आपकी सारा दिन. वो लिटरली आपको बताता नहीं भैया ये ऐसे नहीं हो रहा ये ऐसे ही होना है. तो फिर उसके अंदर हम बनते हैं साइंटिस्ट. फिर हम ज्ञान लगाते नहीं यार हमारे चाचा के लड़के ने ऐसे बताया था ये ऐसे हो सकता था. एंड सो वो चीजें भी बड़ी होती हैं हमारे साथ. तो वो तो चलता ही रहता है. तो आदत लोगों की है कि हर चीज खुद करने की. पैसे बचाने की आदत है यार.
आपने कहा कि you love saturation. So is there a place that you specifically loved?
I like colors. When I say saturation, that's my voice. I love saturation in life. So if I visit a hotel, I'll end up liking a hotel which has more colors and that vibe than a very, what do you say, maybe a jungle lodge. So that is my voice. So as I said, when we talk about the photography, like photography, camera is like pen, ink is like light, and what you're writing is photography. But your handwriting, that is your voice. So my handwriting, that is my voice. That is in certain ways. There is, if you must have seen Sherlock Holmes. सबने देखी होगी मूवी. सारे वेल्ले. तो अब उस मूवी के अंदर एक सीन होता है कि द पर्सन रीड्स अ लेटर. वो जो मोरियार्टी का जो लेटर पढ़ा जाता है. देन ही रीड्स कि okay you are stressed this thing, so it shows that you are you've been a great excellence and this and that you are creative and all that. So he reads the handwriting and he tells his skills. So he reads the handwriting and tells his character. So your handwriting, and if you're an artist, if you're doing things in certain way, that defines your voice. So as goes with the photography, like if I look at someone's image, I'm not saying I will do it, but yeah, I have a fair idea what this person is about, how he's thinking. Maybe he's not aware of it, but yeah, that's his voice. You can read someone's voice the way he's expressing himself. So that is the thing. So yeah, it happens. So I find my voice. So my voice is very contrasty, and so that's how I put it. So I end up liking a lot of. I wear a lot of red shirts because I like the red color contrast. So I end up buying a lot of colorful clothes and colorful shoes. So I like them. Maybe I don't buy, but at times I like them because it's good, and that shows in my images.
Yeah, sir. Especially your display picture. It's like the holy colors everywhere.
Which one? Achha.
On
Stop
your
it.
Instagram profile. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like holy picture. Holy.
अच्छा 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 वो होली काव वाली होली पिक्चर की. इट्स अ होली पिक्चर.
It's it's
Achha.
like holy
Festival
as a
wali.
festival.
Okay, jokes apart. Just a second, yeah. I'll be just back in a second.
Yeah.
Yes, please continue.
Yes, sir. So, what is your favorite place to shoot? Like, you have been to several places. What is your favorite one?
यार ये बड़ा बहुत ही अजीब सा weird question है कि ये नहीं हो सकता यार कि मतलब
For
your
favorite place in the sense like if you are not feeling well or something, if you want to click, if you just want to click, तो एक कोई ऐसी जगह जहाँ पे आप जाना पसंद करते हो?
यार मेरे साथ ऐसा नहीं होता है. There are two things.
ऐसा नहीं
अगर मुझे जाना पसंद तो मैं जाऊंगा ना यार, समझ रहे हो?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So people ask me कि what is your favorite place to eat again? So like you can ask me कि what is your favorite dish to eat? So मैं वो खाना बता सकता हूँ कि वो मुझे घर पे ही मिलेगा तो मेरे को उतनी अच्छा लगेगा, right? But favorite place to eat is like there's nothing to do with the eating. You understand? What you like to shoot is one thing, and where you like to go is another thing.
All right.
So you can ask me where is the favorite place to visit. I can tell you, and what you love to shoot, that I can tell. That I already told you. Anything contrasty, colors, I like it with a good composition. I like that to shoot. That can happen anywhere. The drama can happen in a hotel room also. The drama can happen anywhere in Paris also, right? But I love to shoot a lot of tribes, and I love to. It's not that shoot. I love to visit tribes. I like to see tribes. So when I see the tribes, I like it. So I end up shooting also. If I have to sum it in one thing.
All right.
Does gear matter? Like as a beginner, just like I am. So I have my phone with me. So I click all my photographs with my phone. So does like gear matter in the beginning or like as I'm progressing?
देखो मैं तुम्हें एक चीज बताता हूँ. दुनिया में अगर टेक्नोलॉजी है तो भाई मैटर करती है. देयर इज नो डाउट अबाउट दैट. सवाल ये है कि everything comes with a price tag. Is that price what you're paying is relevant enough for you in that situation? That is the key. You buying a camera, obviously camera is good. If like a camera which is of $10,000 will be better than the $1,000 camera any given day because they have put more research and more investment, more technology has been involved. That has been given. So it is better. That has been given. वो तो है. अब सवाल यहाँ पे आता है कि क्या what is your spending capacity and what is on stake for you. So buying a $10,000 camera might be your life savings, and then it will give you an increment of 10%. You understand? That is the frame of reference I'm putting. Then 10% of your increment in photography or maybe 20% is costing you your life saving. On the other hand, maybe if tomorrow Mr. Ambani wants to buy, so he'll be like, for him is like a pocket change, but is giving him 10% or 20% increment. That is like for nothing for him, right? So that is you have to understand the frame of reference where you're coming from and what is on stake and how are you willing to, everything is affordable in this world. Everything. Be it you have to become an IS, simple hai, ban jao. You have to give 18 hours, simple. Go give you 18 hours. This is your investment. And you get that. You give something, you take something. That is how it works. So that price can be monetary, it can be, it can be efforts, or it can be time, or it can be energy being channelized in certain way and then be capitalized. It can be anything, but you have to calculate. There's a very balance you have to find. What you investing and what you getting out of it in total. So वो total जो combination बनता है, will that work for you? Then it's good. If it's not working for you, then maybe it's a 10 rupee of, मैं बता रहा हूँ कि सड़क पे वो गुब्बारा वाला बेचता है, 5 रुपए का गुब्बारा है, 5 rupees anybody can afford, right? All of us. But we don't want to pay 5 rupees for that गुब्बारा. वो शायद 10 पैसे का बेचे तो हम सब खरीद लेंगे. 10 पैसे भी हम अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं, हम 5 रुपए भी अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं. बट पॉइंट इज कि हम खुद 5 रुपए उसके नहीं देंगे क्योंकि वो हमारे लिए इतनी इंपॉर्टेंट है ही नहीं उसकी. That is how it is. Same goes the camera gears also. Tomorrow I can go and buy Hasselblad, but why to invest 50 lakhs when I will not use it maybe to the capacity and to the extreme of it. And that's how it works. And that's why you see a lot of people who can afford to buy a lot of sports car and luxury cars. They don't buy because they won't use it to the extreme of it. A lot of people can buy Ferraris, but they don't buy Ferraris. They buy maybe a Range Rover or a Q7 or a maybe SUV. than a sports car, because that is good for them. So everyone makes the calculation everywhere in their life, and the same goes with photography.
Yes.
देख लो भाई डायलॉग बाजी.
Sir, on point.
Such a sir.
जी, आगे बढ़िए.
I had a question. Can I go ahead?
Please name yourself.
Yeah, hi, this is Erica, sir.
Hi, Erika.
Hi, so I follow you on Instagram and I'm a big fan of your photographs. There's a particular photograph of the Hornbill Festival. So, like, I don't know if you remember the photograph. It's a series photograph where four people are standing and there are a lot of photos there. Anyway, so like my
I
question
remember all
was,
my images. Trust me. So tell me.
okay,
Describe the
so
image and I will remember.
yeah, so there are like four people standing there. The first picture is that. So the question that I had was, if you want to photograph a person in one particular way, how do you get them to do that? Like, if I'm wanting to photograph Akash and there is one specific picture in my mind I want to photograph him in. So how do I do that? Like, how do I convey him that in what exact pose should he pose in so that I get my desired picture? Like, this is sounding a huge question. Like,
No.
basically,
It's very simple, in fact. I'll tell
yeah,
you. First thing, you should know what you want. Basically.
yeah.
If you know what you want. Second thing, you need to know his capabilities. Can he deliver? Or till what percentage of your wanting he can deliver? Like my parents want, first of all, my parents want me to go into an engineering college, right? That is
Yeah.
their need. But which college can I go up to? They need to understand my capabilities.
Capabilities, yeah.
Okay. Third thing, okay, I have a capability to this person. Third thing, what they are offering me and what is being offered to me that I'll put to certain percentage of my capabilities,
Mhm.
and then I'll deliver. Maybe he's your best friend and he will maybe give his 100% to behave and within his capabilities, and then he will do it for you. And that goes for the tribes also, right? But
Yeah.
if they don't feel you worthy, and they'll be like, "ठीक है यार, I'll just only put my 10% of the efforts for this person or this situation." So you have to calculate everything again. It all boils down to that one thing, that how well you know what you want out of a situation. And the clearer you are, better you are. Because then you don't have to ask a person to pose 10 times. If you know this is what you want, you tell him very clearly and he'll do it. And maybe he'll do to 70%. Then you get a frame. But if you're confused and you're experimenting, that the percentage of his efforts will keep going down.
Yeah.
That is the key. You have to hit with your best shot at the first, and that's it. Less you shoot, better you shoot.
Okay.
Simple enough.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Sir, on a topic of knowing what we want, how can we decide what kind of photography should we pursue? So it's very complicated, and there are several types of photography, and one might have an interest in different kinds of it.
Yeah. First of all, you should shoot the light. You never shoot any object that, again, I said, is very simple. I mean, I don't know any photographer. So there are two things. One is which you are famous for. People know me as a documentary photographer. People know me as a travel photographer. But I shoot street. I have a dedicated page for street, but I don't have a dedicated page for travel. So I'm inclined towards street. I'm inclined. Oh, yeah, sandstorm आ गया है. Okay. तुम्हारे बाहर भी आ गया क्या? तो बस.
Yes, sir. वही देख रहा था.
हाँ, तो मसला ये है कि यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दो चीजें होती हैं. आप किससे फेमस होते हैं वो एक चीज होती है. तो लॉट ऑफ फोटोग्राफर्स व्हेन you know what are they been famous as, so what they're selling and what is being sold in the market. That is one thing. That is a commercial aspect of it. So you end up comparing someone's commercial aspect to his personal drive. So that is a very two different lanes you have in. So I might like a lot of portraitures or I might like certain kind of photography, but I get famous with something else. So एक तो ये चीज हो जाती है. तो यहाँ से कंफ्यूज मत हो कि ये इंसान फैशन फोटोग्राफर है, बट नहीं हो सकता है. लाइक कबीर खान, फिल्म मेकर, बजरंगी भाईजान देखी होगी. He is one of the finest documentary photographers I know. You know, anyone of you knows about that? Kabir Khan till date, he shoots more pictures than what he makes films. But
Hmm.
no one knows him as a photographer, and people know him as a filmmaker.
Hmm.
So that is how it is. Second thing, आपको कैसे find out करना पड़ता है भाई, वो सिंपल सी चीज होती है. It's like eating. आप खाते हो, आपको कुछ चीजें अच्छी लगती है, कुछ ओके लगती है, कुछ नहीं लगती.
Hmm.
तो वही आपके साथ फोटोग्राफी के साथ होता है. कुछ चीजें आपको देख के एस्थेटिकली अपील करती है, यू टेक द पिक्चर्स.
Hmm.
You go to a monument and you go to Taj Mahal and you find, I'll tell you, you go to Taj Mahal, आपको सारे pillars टेढ़े मेढ़े दिखेंगे in the frame. You won't like taking the picture, but it should appeal aesthetically to you. So
Hmm.
when the aesthetic appeals start driving that force inside you, that is the moment when you know, okay, this is the zone which I'm inclined towards. So it's the driving that comes from inside. You shoot something and you shoot something else, and you know the difference. You feel the difference from inside. That is the key. And obviously, you have to find out. So again, इसके अंदर भी दो चीजें होती है. One thing, you think you are good at this, and you are good at this. हम सबको लगता है कि हम बहुत अच्छे बैट्समैन हैं, बट क्या हम सही में अच्छे बैट्समैन हैं?
Hmm.
वो बहुत ही थिन लाइन है उसके बीच में, एंड वो धीरे धीरे बहुत ब्रॉड होती चली जाती है.
Hmm.
तो ये मसला है. तो आपको लगता है कि भाई मैं बहुत अच्छा वेडिंग फोटोग्राफर बन सकता हूँ, बट हो सकता है आपको लगता है, बट यू कैन बी ए बेटर ऑफ ए स्ट्रीट फोटोग्राफर.
Hmm.
That is the job of a mentor to find out and tell you.
Hmm.
Then you reach out to a mentor in any art form. That's why the Michael Jordan, he always attempted to be a baseball player. He was been kicked out, and then he went and played basketball, and like there's nothing which he did not achieve in this world. And once he achieved everything, the driving was still there, and he always had the thing, oh, I can be a better baseball player. But it's just that the world did not recognize my talent. He went back, he left, he quit basketball. He went back and he played baseball again, and he was again kicked out. And then he again came back to basketball, and he was again legend in basketball. So then there was a time when he realized, just imagine, after becoming a legend, he still couldn't analyze that, okay, he was never a legend for that other field which he thought he is, but he is always good at something else which he never thought that he is. So that is the thing, and it can happen to the greatest of all. So yeah.
Yes, sir. So speaking of this, sir, do you think there is a divide between what is commercially viable in photography and what is, personally viable? For example, I love doing street photography, but I don't think we can sell it and make a living on it. So how do we overcome this divide?
The divide has always been there, and there's no practical way to overcome that. And if you kill that divide, the art will be killed. I mean, you talk about any art form, for the matter of fact, and the divide has always been there. The greatest of the art movies, they never do that great business, and you say the great success and the blockbusters has always been the cliche ones, right? So there's the reason Salman Khan is a better celebrated star than Nawazuddin Siddiqui. So it speaks for itself. And same with the painters, same speaks for the designers. And the greatest of the designs, you never buy them. You appreciate them.
Yeah.
That is the thing. You have to understand. The art is for the classes. And art has always been the tool for the upper class. And they had the luxury and the privilege. But they, into 21st century, they don't dictate the terms. The economy is not being dictated by the upper class. It's being dictated by the upper middle class or the lower middle class.
Yeah.
The middle class is the key driving force. So I'll take a bit longer. So you see those old movies. Who were the actors in the old movies? The actors in the old movies used to be young, mature men used to be the actors. You talk about most of the actors. I mean, I'm forgetting the name. Yeah, Dilip Kumar Sahab and anyone. Did you ever see them playing a college boy role? They all were men.
Yeah.
They were married, or they were just about to get married.
Yeah.
So why they were actors? There was a reason. Because the people who could afford to watch the cinema in that time, they used to be the mature men or the housewives. The kids did not have the luxury to go out and watch the cinema. The middle class did not have the luxury to go out to the cinema. Today, the middle class has the luxury to go and watch the cinema. Your father will not go to a theater and watch a movie. You will do that. Probably your younger brother will do it more than you. So now Varun Dhawan is a more celebrated actor. The age of even if today Amir Khan has to play a role, he will come down to 3 idiots and act like a 21-year-old boy. And that movie, obviously, that the masses will connect. You have to understand who is spending, and then you connect with the masses who are spending. That goes with the art. The majority who's spending, they like cliche. Like cliche sells. Simple as that.
Makes sense.
That doesn't mean the greatest of the movies don't sell. That doesn't mean the art for the street and that doesn't sell. Vineet Vora is still selling his books, right?
Yeah.
But he's selling to the elite audience. They are limited. I hope I answered it.
Yeah. Right. Before we move on, do any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Light chali hai. No electricity. And the ACs don't work on inverters.
They don't. I have been through that a lot this time.
So where are you right now? Like in which city?
I'm sorry?
In which city are you in right now?
Yeah, I'm in Delhi, you can say.
Then that is here.
So like there was this photo on your Instagram. If I remember correctly, it was of the Kumbh Mela. So I really like that photo that there was this sadhu, and I guess they are sadhus. I don't know. They're sadhus.
अरे हाँ बोलो यार तुम
हाँ.
घबराओ.
So there were sadhus and they were putting ashes, or I guess that was ash. Yeah, the same. Yes. So
Okay, so what is the question? I got the image.
My question, it's not basically a question, it's just I really like the perspective and all the framing and everything, because
So it took me 15 days to take that picture.
15 days.
One frame.
Oh.
And in short, if I had to say, it took me half of the Kumbh Mela just to take that one photograph. So I decided, compositions, when you see that image, the beauty of that image, you don't have a single photographer in that frame, and they were thousands. And taking a wide angle frame, and still you manage to take a frame where there's no one in that frame, no photographer in the background. That was a practically impossible task. So I managed to pull that off. So that's why it became very special. To do that, to eliminate those risks, it took me a amount of time. So there's a long story behind it. I mean, someday on my live Insta live or somewhere, I may be doing a live today or tomorrow. You can ask the same question. I will love to explain.
I loved, because I really wanted to know the backstory of it, because
the backstory is simple. They are sadhus. They're going for the Shahi Snan, and that is the moment when they go into the water and they come out and they put the ashes back on the body. So I position myself in the back lane. So all the photographers, they position in front when, for example, they are coming and jumping into the water. So photographers position themselves right here. So that they can jump and they can photo. But if you position yourself here, you cannot run and go in the back. You can't do that. I position myself here so that they go, they jump, they come back, they get into the water, they take the bath. When they come back, then I'm standing here, I take the photograph. And they're all sadhus in the background. I don't have a single photographer. So that is how it was. So I make sure I was standing there. I never went to this spot. So yeah, and when I'm saying I'm standing here, so this is the road where every second there are hundreds of people walking. Every second there are 100 people going forward, and still you manage to be in the center. So that was the key. Then again, you position yourself and you let go. The Kumbh is all about the 4 days. Kumbh is for 50 days, but the photographs are made only on the 4 days. So if you let go one day of those 4 days, that means you let go 1/4 of the Kumbh, right? Then you have to wait for another 15 days to get that day, and then you go and shoot. So that is how it is.
It's just the very, very nice photo. Like I saw that and I was like, okay, this is really great. I really like that.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Sir, definitely these kinds of shots take a lot of planning and framing. So what minute details do you take care of while shooting?
Yeah, you don't do that actually. That's a habit. It's like, again, I have to say, it's like playing cricket. Minute of the details is not to get out in cricket. So same goes with us. Minute of the details is to take the picture. That's the basics. And then you keep on working. So the next thing will be, first thing is to take the frame. Second thing is to take the frame which is not overexposed. Third thing you can be take the frame which makes sense. Fourth thing, it's a long story and you keep evolving. I'm still learning. I know nothing. I'm still learning. Trust me. So every day I see my pictures, I'm like, okay, next time I'll try and not do this or try and do this. So that keeps evolving. And again, यार सब चीजें सही है, but depends where you're looking from. So where's your frame of reference? So if my frame of reference is I know nothing, that the minute details should be कि at least press the shutter and make it look white. So I'll tell you an example. When you travel, so you call some kid and you tell him what is. I can tell you your words. You will be like, "यार बेटा ऐसा करना. Try not to cut my head and try not to do this. I'm giving you this frame. Try and do this." So the minute of the details which you told him is only 3 things. You told him कि white ले लो, बाद में काट के I'll crop it, but make it a white frame so that I'm not chopped, and try and make it this so that nobody's there. So that is a minor step you have done. Then you can work on the further. But if you're giving your camera to a person who knows bit about camera, your minute details will change. You will tell him कि okay, do one thing. Try and take a photograph when we are together like this, or maybe we are laughing and it's a candid moment, because that person can do that. But if you're sitting with a professional photographer, what will you do? You'll tell him, okay, let's do one thing. I'll just bounce something in the air, and then that color will be on my head so that it makes the umbrella out of my head, and then take the moment at that particular second. And he will take care of that. So that things again changes and all boil down to the one single point where you're looking it from.
Very insightful. Right, guys. Do you have any question, or should I continue?
I don't think so.
I guess I'll add a question.
I can't see how many people are there. I have to see this.
Then we are on live. Then.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So, sir, let us ask about what was your first paycheck and how can we get our first paycheck?
यार ना बॉलीवुड वाले डायलॉग लग रहे हैं. What was the first paycheck? I got 500 rupees. And if you hear someone saying 500 rupees, I like someone, Javed Akhtar comes out and say, with all due respect, I love the way he speaks and everything. With all due respect to Javed Sahab, and again, great legacy is coming from Janisar Akhtar Sahab and all that. But he comes out and say, my first paycheck was 50 rupees, and people are like, wow, just 50 rupees. And I'm like, that 50 rupees was in 1965. It was as good as maybe 20,000 in today's world, and that was a good amount. He was overpaid. So that is again, we are engineer, so we look down from again 50, but in which year? Again, frame of reference. So I don't remember, but I was paid well, I must say. I was overpaid. So because if I say number, but again you have to I have to again refer it to the year which I'm talking to and all that. So maybe I can say a watch, right? If you say a Rolex today, so it's like it's a good watch. And if my grandfather say I got a Rolex and I got it for maybe $1,000. I like $1,000 was too much. I mean, you used to get a Mercedes in $10,000 back then, and you paid $1,000 for your watch. So that was too big. Today you don't get a Rolex for $10,000 even. So that is how it is, right? So then these things changes. So it sounds very fascinating, but trust me, it was as good as any photographer will get paid today. Right. If today someone is starting and is getting paid, it's paying good, right? And again, it goes with your work and how hardworking you are. So these things are valid when someone is getting overnight success. So like, okay, today I got a paycheck for $1,000, and 5 years later I got overnight success like this one, Mukhate. This guy, the singer. In 1 week, he's charging 100 times. So then these things better, but we have been a long way. So yeah, for us, it's a very steady and that kind of increment.
So sir, how does an engineer go to photography? Like how can we make the transition into paid work? Because we have like no connections right now. How do we do that?
First thing first, you make a profile. You need to have something to show to the world. And when you show to the world, it should be worthy showing. And if I'm seeing your work, it shouldn't be like thousand other work which I'm looking at. So
Hmm.
why will I give you the work when I can see thousand other people who are doing similar or more or less the same kind of work, right?
Mhm.
That is the key. So
Hmm.
once you do that, once you find your work is way better than others,
Hmm.
when you start feeling that, then obviously you can write email. Today is very easy, yeah, actually. You
Hmm.
can DM the people, you can write to the brands, and it's so easy. It's not like the old days, and like I'm telling you, it was so hard for these old actors who used to hold this portfolio outside the studios and go to those directors and go for the screening. Today, if a director watches you on Instagram, and he might hire you for his next film. So it's so
Hmm.
easy nowadays. And if I see your work and if going through someone's Instagram profile and I do that. I mean, so many of the projects, if I see someone is a good content creator making some good decent videos, and my idea is to understand okay? There are two things. One is you're doing work and
Hmm.
doing good work. That is fine.
Mhm.
But second thing, which is the key, is how flexible are you? My
Hmm.
job is not to see your great work and pay you for your great work. No, my job is to get the work out of you, which I
Hmm.
want. The good actor is not who does the same acting greatly. No, good actor is who acts very good as per the director.
Hmm.
So once we see that flexibility in you, and
Hmm.
once we see that okay, you're potentially capable of delivering this kind of work,
Yeah,
which we want, then we take you very seriously.
that is really insightful.
Yeah.
Oh. So there's a question in chat. Erika wrote, "Sir, there is a photograph that you have taken which is in front of Taj Mahal during the time of Eid. It was, I guess. So in that photo, everyone is black except for one person. How did you take that shot? It seems practically impossible to do that in broad daylight. Like there are around 100 people in that snap and only one person invisible."
Okay, there's something called Lightroom. You play with your. See, you can always play with the lights and shadows.
Hmm.
I'm not manipulating. I'm not adding person. I'm not removing person. I
Hmm.
am just removing some light from somewhere.
Hmm.
I'm just that's a minimal I'm doing. I'm removing certain light from somewhere. I'm not. Why do I do that? So you have to understand that. First of all, I'm not manipulating with the information. They are still the same amount of people. It's still the Taj Mahal. It's still the prayer. It's still everything is the same. And
Hmm.
nor I'm trying to make any propaganda work. All I'm trying to do is to drive. When you look at the thousand men at the same time, you'll be like, fine. But
Hmm.
I'm trying to make you work through a contrast.
Hmm.
That's it. I'm just playing with your mind. I
Yeah.
just make like they're all not dark. They are in shadow. They
Hmm.
are in very low contrast, and this is in high contrast. That's it. It's just a contrast difference I played with.
Yeah.
So making the contrast difference, you'll end up looking at that. So I'll tell you, this is a very human thing. You look at the door at the thousand times, right? But you
Hmm.
look at the wall, and there's a door in the wall, but there's someone standing in the door, and there are
Hmm.
10 people standing everywhere. You will end up noticing the person standing in the door before anybody else because that's a contrast. So
Hmm.
that's you play with the mind. That's how you convey the visual narrative. So that was my decisive moment.
Hmm. So, sir, on the concept of editing, some people take it too far, like you said, add people or add, maybe add birds or add elements. So, what do you think is ethical in photography, or maybe
Uh,
it's just creative freedom?
okay, there are two things. One is editing, one is manipulating.
Hmm.
Right. So if you're manipulating and you're okay about that, you're manipulating, that's fine.
Hmm.
And especially with editing and all that, it's always been done. So first of all, there's nothing can be, again, as I said, photography is not to, who said photography is to show what exactly is being seen? No. Who said that? Who
Nobody.
said that? Did you ever hear that? We have to photograph the way it is. No, because that's not practically possible because our eyes see to a dynamic range to a level. Camera can never capture it. So technically what we saw was never captured.
Yeah.
Again, what we saw and what a colorblind man saw, is it same? No, it's not same. A person who's colorblind, he saw everything in
Hmm.
black and white.
Yeah.
Someone who's a partial blind, I have a friend who doesn't see the green color. He
Hmm.
thinks he sees the world very differently.
Hmm.
Photography is when you take an image and when you represent, when you're showing it to the world, it's more about what is What do you want to convey through that image? That is your voice. This is what I want to convey to the world. And as far as the adding and subtracting the images, it is very strict. No, when you're doing a journalism work, but journalism is you conveying a story, you're conveying the information. Journalism is purely informative. It's nothing to do with it. When you say photography is the world's vastly spoken language.
Yeah.
That is photography. It's way more spoken than English or any other language. So when you conveying a news, you convey in the simplest form. Then you're not allowed to disturb any element. If you are documenting, what is documenting? Documenting things in time. So, for example, today, if I've taken a picture and there's a Bisleri bottle being thrown on the road, and I just took a picture. Ideally, I'm not supposed to remove the Bisleri bottle also. Why? Because person who's sitting in 2050 is looking back in time through the documentary image. But the Bisleri bottle, which is the least common thing, which we think is a kachra, today in 2020, will not look like what is looking like today in 2050. So that is a piece of information you're manipulating with.
Yeah.
You understand? So you go to the archive images, everything fascinates you. Even if you see even the water bottle, you go through the archive images of a water bottle, they will fascinate you. Like, wow, this water bottle is to look like this. And at times people just go and, browse the images of old stupid things, maybe the old slippers or old watches or maybe old MacBooks.
Yeah, Pepsi Cola and Coca-Cola's advertisements.
You know what I mean, right? So everything is a piece of information. That is one thing. Second thing, when you're using for advertising. So like I do advertising work. So my job is to advertise Pepsi. So my job is to show what Pepsi is. My job is never to convey how the slippers been wore or how the sky used to look. So in that case, in advertising, I can always replace the sky. I can add and subtract the elements. Because my job is to show the Pepsi. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So again, it's boiled down to the same point. Where you're coming from. Especially the wedding. Wedding people say it should be good, but the moments, the emotions are the best. If someone managed to take a good emotional moment of a man getting married and he has an emotional moment which he shared with his mother in that wedding, that is priceless. Doesn't matter if it is not framed well or whatever. If it's framed well, is obviously good. But if someone has removed some curtain out of it, doesn't matter. It's more of a moment he shared. Looking at that image, he'll relive that moment with his mother.
Yeah.
Because he cannot be young anymore. So those are the things you have to consider. Where you're looking at, what you're trying to create, what is the need, and how it will be seen 5 years down the line. So it's a very long topic. I mean, I can have a long discussion on this. But
I would love that.
Yes. I think abhi kitna time bacha hai?
Sir, it's almost time to wrap up. So let us take any questions from our viewers. Do you have any?
Yes, I do. We are the lockdown is still going on, so we are kind of bounded in our homes only. So, is there any way you would suggest that we can practice photography and develop on our skills while staying at home only?
Okay, there are at least many ways, but I'll tell you the few basics. Firstly, you can work on your techniques, right? Work on your composition. At least you have a light. You look at a chair standing in front of you, or maybe curtain on your left, the green curtain when you see. You pick your camera without thinking much. Can you get the exact settings in the exposure triangle that it will not be overexposed or it will not be underexposed on a manual mode? Can you do that?
No,
if you can practice and do these basics, try and get your exposure triangle basic, at least to the perfection. At least so that when you go out next time, you don't have to worry about exposure triangle because you'll be that good. Look at a frame and you tell, okay, this should be shot at 100th of a second and f5 and this should be the ISO. You look at it and you know it. You can work on that. You can work on the basics of the compositions. Work on the lights. You'll have a light coming from your house and you train, walk with the light. So the basics you can do, right? At least, you perfect, less you, more you bleed, the more you sweat in field, less you bleed in war. So that is how it is. So more you practice there, like Virat Kohli will go back to the nets. What he does, maybe he's lacking on his pull shot. So he every day he'll just work on his pull shot. So obviously when he goes out to bat, it's not that he's playing all the shots as a pull shot. No, but when the ball is balled to him as a pull shot, he'll not going to miss it. So one thing is sorted for life. If he's worked hard for 20 days on the pull shot, then he's not going to let it go. So these are the things you work on your weaknesses. You find out, okay, this is your key weakness. You never learn from matches. You never learn from matches. You always learn from your practice sessions. You always evolve as a better player or better person while you practice, because practice is the spot where you eliminate those the negativity out of you. You cannot learn in middle of the ground, right? You cannot do that. Ground is to perform. When you go out is to perform. It's the time to learn. You always learn when you're at home. You never go out and learn. You never do that. So yeah, these are the things.
Thank you so much.
Also, sir, what do you look in an intern? What do you look in an intern?
Then I want someone who is willing to learn. Simple. And that's simplest of the things are the toughest one to find.
Yeah.
So that's how it is.
Sir, and how do we contact you? Should we just mail you? This is
I reply to DMs and if I get time, but at times I don't. But I generally don't take interns, because most of the people, they don't want to learn. They just want to travel or do this or do that, and that doesn't excite me. I mean, that's why should I make you travel because you want to travel? Why should I do that?
yeah.
Why should anybody do that? I will never hire someone so that he can travel. If I want to do that, I'll call my girlfriend, I'll call my mother, I'll call my father or my brother.
Yeah.
I'll do that, right? That's the easy way. Why should I pay for you or anybody, for the matter of fact? And if I want someone who can do a small kind of job, then I'll hire someone who's a professional, who will do it better than you. If I have to pay and invest money, I'll better pick a professional.
Yeah.
So that is how it is, right? So you have to understand what is on stake.
Yes.
So when you make a purchase, you always know what you're offering. You never offer too less and try to get too much. Then you end up with a no deal.
Makes sense. All right. This is the last call for questions. Does anybody have any? I'm assuming no. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, sir, so much for coming here. It has been really great. Sir, do you want to just share anything to the people who are just, starting out and just start their photography journey for the first day?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's good. You always learn and you go out and enjoy yourself and just express yourself. That's the best way. And just be who you are. That's more important. Trust me. And people end up liking you for who you are. The problem is if you try to be something and you try to photograph or try to express in a way, and trust me, if 10,000 people come to you, but when they actually come close to you, which you actually want, then they realize that you're not the person who what you portrayed. So they eventually go back. So this whole process ends up as a zero if you don't try to approach the way you are. So that is a key. I mean, that happens for everything. I mean, so it happens when you're going out for your field or anything. I mean, trust me. As engineers also, and as a boy or a girl also, and anything. Trust me. Any artist.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for your time, and it's been great meeting you. Sir, socials will be linked on our Instagram, and we'll send it to the group chat as well. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys, have fun.
Guys, in the meeting, can you just wait? We'll just send you a feedback form link. You need to fill that, and you'll get the certificate for today's webinar. Just a second. You can also tell us how was the session right now, or you can do that in the what do you say, feedback form. Here's the session, the feedback form.
I really liked the session.
So did I. So did I.
Also follow us on DSBBB for more such sessions.
Yes.
All right then. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining in.
Thank you so much.